G'day art adventurers, welcome back to my channel, or if you're here for the first time, my name is Christopher and welcome. Today I get to do something really fun, that is to create my first art collab video with April Rain's Fine Art. She came up with the idea for this, so thank you to her, and it is to take a dictionary. I'm going to be using my English-Japanese dictionary and choose two words from it. I thought it could be fun to choose an English and a Japanese word and then create a piece of art. She's already done one of these, so I really encourage you to go check out what she made because it was really great. And we're part of a Discord server for YouTube artists, so if I find anyone else has also joined in on this, I'll link them down below as well. I'll throw in the Discord link in case you're also a YouTuber. You have to be posting art videos on YouTube to join this server. Anyway, let's go see what I can make with this bad boy. Let's go on an art adventure. Also, how awesome is this shirt? And let's choose the words. So, English is the first half, I think. I'll just choose a word here. It is emotion, kanjo. Okay, that is going to be tricky. And my Japanese word is saki or osaki, and it means front. So emotion and front. This is what I've come up with. It's the line art of a Japanese izakaya or a Japanese restaurant. I made a little noodle shop here using a bunch of different reference photos, and I'll show you 3 of them here. This is some different norin or Japanese hanging cloths. This is the main store that I used, and also I'll show you the top view of that. And then I've pieced it together and also used my imagination. So let's go color it. Okay, let's see if I can explain this drawing to you. First of all, it's drawn on A3 Bristol board paper or Copic Blending Express paper if you're interested, and the links will be down below for materials as usual. And I decided to draw a Japanese izakaya storefront or a Japanese restaurant storefront, a made-up soba shop, or at least somewhat made up and somewhat based on references. You saw some of those photos earlier. And my 2 words, if you remember, were emotion, that was the English word, or kanjo in Japanese, and the Japanese word was osaki, or front. And when you get to the front of a restaurant in Japan, it's often really common to encounter norin, or fabric cloth that separates the outside from the inside, and it creates, to me and I think many other people, a really interesting change in your emotional state as you transition from one space into the next space. And so I decided to highlight those norin in this drawing. You can see many of them drawn there, and the writing on the left says soba shop or noodle shop, and then I've drawn some noodles, and then in the middle I placed my favorite, or maybe one of my favorite norin that I've ever come across. It's showing the 4 seasons in a graphical form. So summer, spring, autumn or fall, and winter. And in fact, the Japanese writing or kanji at the top that I've drawn on this restaurant says the same thing, but in Japanese. So that would be Natsu, Haru, Aki, Fu. And I've tried to highlight those, as you'll see at the end, by having their color be the most dramatic contrast. I've also placed some pot plants or little
images of plants at the front that you can see me coloring in now. And that's really common for many Japanese stores and also creates a really interesting change of emotion, or at least does in me, when you see the care and love that's taken to those little spaces that would normally just be otherwise like dead pavement or plain concrete. They're often so carefully decorated and lovingly cared for with various little pot plants and little features to make the space far more inviting. And you can also see I've placed a little statue right at the sliding doors. Those statues are really common in Japan in all sorts of places, but particularly restaurants. They're tanuki-san or tanuki, and they're actually based on a Japanese animal, like a raccoon kind of animal, but they've given them a humanoid personality in Japan, and they're often wearing their hat and carrying their bottle of sake and nothing else. They're always naked and weirdly with really large testicles. If you've ever seen one before, it's pretty hilarious that they all seem to have that in common, but no one ever seems to mention it. Anyway, let's move on from that topic and onto the noren, or the fabric that I'm coloring, and I'm trying to make this the highest contrast and focus of the piece, and trying to draw the viewer's eye to that region. While I think of it, apologies for any bad Japanese that I've spoken in this video or any poor writing of the Japanese characters. I'm not really great at Japanese. I just do the best I can when I can. And I'm also aware that the Japanese word that I chose, osaki, I know that the first definition that came back was front, but it's far more common to use, at least in my experience, the word saki or osaki in a very different way, by perhaps allowing someone to go in front of you by saying osaki ni dozo, or to excuse yourself when asking to go in front of somebody by saying something like, それからお先に失礼します. But that was the first word that came back in my dictionary, this idea of front. So I decided to go with that, and I did the best that I can with the two words that I got, emotion and front. And here is my finished piece. Thanks again to April Rain's Fine Art. Please go check out her channel. And it was a lot of fun to do a collab with you. I hope we get to do one again. If you enjoyed this, please consider giving me a like, a thumbs up, or subscribe, or click that little bell notification. And I'll see you next time for another art adventure. Bye.